You once said you've written a song purposely for Kojo entry. I'd like to know, do you still
Yeah.
have that music, and what is keeping you from approaching Kojo entry to let him know?
Oh, I think who to introduce me is what is left. Who to introduce me is what is left. But the
Okay.
song is there.
Welcome, guys, to Time with Steven. In my previous episode, I promised you I was going to bring a big artist from Ghana. And yes, I've headed to that promise. Born Raphael Ibrahim Somaila Bakalaku Dabri, he's an Afrofusion, Highlife and Reggae artist. Guys, you can tell I'm excited for this conversation. Without further ado, let's welcome Baka Dabri.
Hello, bro.
Welcome, and thanks once again for joining me. I really
I'm,
appreciate
I'm
taking
here.
time off your busy schedule, to join me on this platform. Thanks so much.
I'm grateful. I'm excited to be here. And as we were saying before the start of this, to me it's a pleasure. So, Charlie, any day, let's have the chat.
Thanks,
Any day.
thanks, thanks. Okay, so I introduce you as a big musician from Ghana, in my perspective, but realistically, you are big in talent, but not so big in the numbers. I want to find out what really has constituted towards this.
All right, interesting question. Thank you for asking this one. I think I'm going to try and avoid a politically correct way of saying it, but usually when it has to do with promo effort, right? Aside being talented, usually it has to do with budget for marketing, really. That's really it, the problem.
Okay.
Because if you have the right budget for marketing, then you can be able to put your music on the right platforms. It basically buys you access, right? And I think
Okay.
aside creating a beautiful work of art, what is needed is to be able to get it in front of an audience, and a bigger audience at that.
Yeah.
However, that is usually the challenge of not only me alone, but of most emerging but super talented artists in the country and on the continent as a whole. So I would say that's
Okay.
really the challenge. Finance, exactly,
Finance.
finance.
All right. Okay. So you are an Afrofusion artist, a reggae, and then a high life musician. I'd like to know, is there any difference between Afrofusion and Afrobeats?
Yeah. Well, I think if I'm following, Burna Boy is really the guy who has been pushing Afrofusion, right?
Yeah.
And so, per what he explained it to be, you are looking at Afro beats as the big umbrella under which you find a lot of different subgenres, right? And so
Mhm.
sometimes artists like me, you hear us and we are Afro artists, we are traditional, African artists, but maybe you hear reggae influence in it, you hear a soul influence in it, you might hear pop influence in it, but it is as Afro as it gets. Then that's how come an artist will put themselves in the category of Afrofusion, because aside it being an Afro sound, it diverts into these various subgenres. And
Okay.
that's really what the Afrofusion side is about. And High Life, I believe you and I, we know High Life as it
Yeah.
is, from Ghana, very rich music. I was trained the high life way for the most part. And so if you were to contract me to write a song for you, my default, setting would be to write a high life song, right?
Mhm.
But then at the end of the day too, there is that need to experiment with various sounds, because it just feels good. It's beautiful art, so
Yeah.
you do that, and at the end of the day, use it to discover other sides to your sound, of which reggae is also one side of it. I'm really influenced by a lot of reggae artists out there.
Okay. So let's go back to when music began for you. Is it like there is music in the family genes, or how the music started up for you?
Um, that I know of, I don't have any family member I can say is an artist, right?
Okay.
Yes, not no, no. There's no one I can point to. However, how it started for me. So I am born to a Muslim father and then a
Mhm.
Christian mother, right? And then um, so I'm named, for instance, I'm named the Muslim way, right? There was the,
Okay.
we do sunnah, which is like the outdooring, the naming ceremony. I was named that way. I ended up also in the church because my parents weren't really together, and so depending on who you lived with, you practiced the faith of that home.
Mhm.
You get it? Because
Yeah.
as you and I know, you can't be in your Christian mother's house and be doing Allahu Akbar, and then you
Very true.
can't be in your father's house and be going to church too. And so for me, in my mother's camp, I would say it started with, church influences here and there. On my dad's side, I was that kid whom, you know, got, selected in the Makaranta, which is like where we get trained and taught the Arabic, right? I was that kid who was selected because one time I tried calling for prayers in the mosque, and then when I did it, the Malam was like, hey, great, you sound good. So from now, I need you to be calling for prayer. So I became the azan for that particular mosque, right?
Okay.
At a very young age. And so it deals reciting the Quran and doing the calling at the mosque. It's all melodies. You are dealing with melodies in a way.
Yeah.
So I would say even right from there, I started getting influenced, musically, because you are playing with melodies anytime you are calling. You are doing breath control here and there. And so for me, that's where it really started. And then I remember in high school, when that is junior high school, when we were part of this peer education group and we had to compose a song to educate the public about HIV/AIDS, right? And so
Mhm.
each school was basically tasked to compose a song. And in my school, it's a Saito school. We didn't have like an established music department like that. So as a kid who was just excited about music, I said, okay, then let me take it upon myself to compose a song on behalf of the school. And so the melody wasn't even my own, but it was an old, Hausa wedding song or something like that. And I took it and I just switched, I changed the words and I put words in there that educated people about HIV/AIDS. And I would say that was really my first actual musical composition. Did it
Wow.
sound as great? No, if I'm being honest with you. It didn't sound as great compared to the schools that had proper music departments and music directors to help them compose music. But at least in my school, they considered it good enough to let me represent them. So in my head, that was the start. Okay, then there was a little bit of music in me, and then it sparked that interest, and then here we are. A couple of years
Okay.
later.
So when did your music actually went commercial?
Oh, so commercially, I would say when I completed university,
Mhm.
that's I would say in 2016 was when I left University of Ghana, Legon, and then after majoring in sociology and linguistics, um, I think somewhere to it, because I did linguistics, it sparked more creativity in me. I got to play with words a lot. I was writing a lot of poetry, a lot of songs. So after school, I had so much content that I couldn't just look at the content and say, look, in another direction, because I felt
Mhm.
like the content needed to be heard. And
Yeah.
it wasn't only, on my wishful thinking. I'd shared it with a few people and they were like, yo, why are you sitting on this beautiful content? You either sell these songs or you hit the studio and then you record them and you put them out. And then that was really it. So I'll say 2017 was when I officially properly started recording commercially. But aside
Okay.
that, I just had songs I had written on my own and I'll be playing them at different locations and people would be asking me, whose song is that? And I'm like, oh, it's my original. Then they're like, oh, cool. Keep doing what you're doing, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so you actually went to the University of Ghana, Legon, to study
Yes.
linguistics and sociology. Was that a
Correct.
strategic decision you made? And did you had, urge to do music right after you completed school?
Yes, yes. I think the music had always been with me because
Hmm.
even if today, let's say today, I everything stopped for me. Let's say even if today I were to announce that, hey, I'm dropping music as a career, I'm not going to pursue it commercially, I would say I would be lying to the world because secretly I'll still be writing songs. It's like it never ends for me.
Okay.
Even when I say I don't want to do it, I'll just find myself writing something. It could be a poem, it could be a spoken word piece, it could be a whole new song. So it's like it's something that even when I say I'm not doing it, I would still be doing it. You get it? And so
Yeah.
for me, that's where it tells me that, well, it comes easily to me, one, and then
Okay.
aside that, I truly enjoy it. And there is that, commercial viability for it too as an art. And so why not pursue it as a full-fledged career? You get it?
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So throughout high school and your basic school, I mean, you were doing music. You were singing in church. Per my research, um,
Mhm.
one would have thought you would have come out like as a gospel artist, but you ended up being an Afrofusion, high life and reggae artist. I mean, how did the transition happen?
Oh, interesting one. And I think a lot of artists, go through that phase. As part of discovering your sound, you want to be sure you are one preaching the right message through your songs. You want to be sure you are talking about things that matter to you and all of that. And so for me, even at the time, whether it was as an azan in the mosque or a praise and worship leader in the church, I always knew deep within me that I wanted to genuinely, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to lie to God also.
Hmm.
Genuinely, I really wanted to talk about a broad range of topics that I felt went beyond just the gospel of Christ, or let's say the
Okay.
gospel of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You get it? So
Yeah.
for me, I remember I consulted a few people in the church at the time. I consulted a few Malam friends. I'll tell them that, look, I've been thinking of what to write about, but I
Hmm.
know that I cannot, be talking about the gospel in the traditional sense as people, expect, that it has to be that you are praising God or you are worshiping. Like for me, the gospel meant more than just that. The gospel meant that I should have songs for love, to help people celebrate love, which is also a good gospel. I should have songs that motivate. If you are down in the morning and you listen to me, you should be empowered to say, okay, you found purpose just by listening to a lyric or two in my songs. You get it? My song should be able to advocate, political advocacy, for instance, is very important to me.
Yeah.
We should be able to speak about things socially. I say, even back in the day, people had songs for war, right? Even in the Bible stories, when people
Yeah.
won wars, they had songs for them. So
Yeah.
it wasn't really about every day, let's praise the Lord, let's praise the Lord with music. They had songs
Hmm.
for different occasions. But I feel like in modern times, sometimes, you know, there is that forgetfulness, and then we overdo things, and it makes people who are not really singing directly from the church feel like they are less of gospel
Hmm.
artists. But I think if the song has a message and it preaches a certain good virtue, and it would inspire someone to move from that side of bad to good in one form or the other, that side of sad to happy, then it's as gospel as it gets you know
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a preacher. I'm a preacher too.
Right. But were your parents supportive? Because we know, African parents, they are
Yeah,
very protective. They want their child to become doctors, lawyers, and all these other professions, but not a musician. Were your parents
yeah,
really supportive of your chosen career?
yeah. Um, I would say they didn't understand it. They didn't understand why the sudden seriousness, why the sudden interest. Yeah, we knew this was something you were doing, but as a hobby, but we didn't think you were going to take it that seriously. You know, that vibe, you get it.
Mm,
And
yeah.
for my mother especially, I got that vibe from her because if you've been called prof since you were a kid, and at some point lawyer, at some point doctor, then you don't become any of those things, and you are like you want to become a musician. I'm sure it definitely might come with a certain level of disappointment.
Yeah.
However, my mother especially, it took her understanding me and how passionate I was about it. And I guess, you can say you are doing music, and depending on how you are moving, someone would consider you as a serious person with the craft. And equally, depending on how you're moving, one might not take you seriously. I would say I
Hmm.
moved in a way that convinced my mother that I really meant business with this pursuit of mine. And so
Okay.
once she got that realization, it was like full on support. Like she's the woman that will let you watch my videos on Three Music on
Hmm.
any channel that is playing my music video. She would take a screenshot and she would show it to friends that look
Wow.
look at my boy killing it out there. As for my father too, I would say is I won't lie about it. We never really had a proper conversation. Sometimes the African dad vibe, you update. We don't really have the conversation like that. You get it?
Hmm.
So it's more of he also just saw me doing it. And then based on the content that was coming out, he just
Hmm.
began to take me seriously. But I'm sure
Okay.
if they weren't getting quality material, they will probably be honest and say, look, son, you are not moving right. This thing, drop it and find something better to do with your life. But it's like I'm doing it, and whatever I'm doing, they see it, they hear it, and they feel like, oh, you are onto something. So let's give you room to show us what really you are looking for with this,
Yeah.
musical career pursuit of yours. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So your biggest music in numbers so far is Magajia. I want to know what really went
Mm.
into creating Magajia, and why haven't you replicated such methods on all your other music, such as the African Goddess, which is also really, really good. Why haven't you replicated
Yeah.
all these methods on all your songs? Because they are good. I'm not saying just because you're here, your music are so good. So I want to know why.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I think, Magajia comes from the first EP, which is called Busangania Brantier. And that EP was like my very high life self, right? My very local musician, self. And so that was really a song that, in terms of promotion, it was really a Ghana song, and we pushed it as much as we could here, and it got that acceptance. And the current EP, which is Hear Me Out, is where I'll say, if you listen, you'll be like, okay, it kind of expands. It makes the other side of my sound. The first EP was more the high life side, and then a current EP is more the Afrofusion. There is still high life. There is the soul. In some of the records, there is the piano vibe too in there. And so basically, this current project on which African Goddess is, we have been pushing that one mainly on the internet because the current project, per the analytics on Spotify and all of that, it comes off as world music more than just music for Ghana, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, budget wise, because we are looking at the world and the resources are limited, we are really focused on pushing the audio as much as possible. So it's more on working on making sure that it's put in the right playlist, we are getting on the right, platforms and all of that. And so I'll say that's the effort there. As for Magajia,
Mhm.
of course, which the video on YouTube, it has over 50,000 views and all of that.
Yeah.
We were able to push it very much in Ghana, and I'll say that because it was local promo, it was easier. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was local promo, it was easier. And so that's really the difference in terms of effort, you understand,
Hmm.
between the two projects. Magajia was easier because it was more, you have to look at the product in question, you understand. It was more
Hmm.
a local promo, so it was more easier for us. But this is like we are looking at the world, you understand.
Hmm.
And we are doing that through the internet. And so that is why it seems to not be as strong as the push from Magagia. But that doesn't
Okay.
mean we are not on it. We are on it, except
Okay.
we might not be able to move as fast as we expected to. You know.
Okay. Well, in preparing for this conversation, uh, I did a few research on you, but I noticed one thing. You don't have a lot of media presence. What is
Mhm, mhm.
actually the challenge?
Yes, yeah. Oh, okay. So in terms of media presence, can you clarify what
Yes.
specifically?
So I couldn't get enough interviews about you,
Mhm.
not enough articles written about your music. I mean, there was
Oh,
only
okay.
one article I found out, and just
Yeah,
about
yeah,
two
yeah,
or three
yeah.
interviews. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
why are you not out there? You know, in the public,
Yeah.
eye.
Okay, so I here's how I have come to understand promo so far, and I mean we learn every day, right? So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that as time goes on, I'm still acquiring more experience and knowledge, together with my team. Um, there is the traditional media promo side of things, which you are talking TV, you are talking radio, and I mean you could, in a way, sometimes slide in blogging and all of that, articles getting published about you in there. And there is also what we know at the moment, the TikToks, the making sure your Shazams are good, making sure you're getting playlisted and all of that. As an emerging artist with limited resources, right?
Mhm.
Usually um it's an unrealistic reach, right? If you have very limited resources and you want to take that full swing at traditional media promo, because it's capital intensive and it's not as flexible for you, the artist or your team with a limited budget, to say that you have much control on how spending is done. You get it? The budget they give you is what you work with. You understand? So if I want to get on a big TV platform out here and it requires that I pay to get on, it's a fixed amount. If I don't have that fund, I won't be able to get on there. But if probably with the same amount, as an artist with limited resources, the most rational thing for me to do would be to maybe invest it in online promotion for now. I'm not ruling out the traditional, media, but to put it in online promotion, as in get a song playlisted, get it onto the right playlist with the right audience. So maybe don't put my Afrofusion in a country music playlist, put it in an Afrobeats playlist so that it has Afrobeats audience and Afrobeats people get to hear it a lot. Maybe do that Instagram boost. Maybe, you know, pay for that digital, activation to happen. You get it. And so
Yeah.
with this side of promo, the digital side of things, for most artists, and I'm not speaking for myself alone, for most emerging artists, that seems to be more flexible, right? It's more within your control because if I wake up and let's say I have $30, I can just decide to boost something on my social media. You get it?
Mhm.
But maybe that
Yeah.
same $30, I can't carry it and go to a traditional media and say, collect this and then put me on this platform. If your rate is exactly X amount and I don't have that money for you, you get it? So you move with your smarts, I believe, by making sure that maybe when you have a chance to be on the traditional media, how we move right now is that maybe if you had a radio station and you invited me to come there and then I guess you are also using me for content for your TV, right? So if you say,
Exactly.
hey, Baka Dabri, come through this morning show, come play something, come perform, then we are like, okay, look, then could you also push us a little, maybe just put us on air for like 2 weeks or 1 week before we come. You get it? So that at the end of the day, I get a little bit of exposure. And in
Mhm.
exchange, I am content for your platform. You get
Yeah.
it? So these are some of the corners we try to cut to make sure that we make up for that side, the traditional media. But our focus right now has really been on what we can control because I know if I put in $3, I will see what I used it for, you know.
Mhm.
But if I want to go the traditional route, then I have to really have the money to be able to move the way I want to move, or else it won't be quality promotion. You get it?
Yeah.
So I guess it comes back to the budget concerns, I spoke about. And I am an independent artist, so
Mhm.
everything depends on me and my team. It's not like
Yeah.
we have a record label support, and so we move as best as we know how. You know,
Mhm. Yeah. So, as an independent artist, would you say music for you now is sustainable?
at the moment, music isn't sustainable for me. I wouldn't say that it's sustainable because my music hasn't started paying me. I wouldn't say I'm profitable yet. I would say I'm
Okay.
still actually, um, I'm still building. Yeah, the product is there, but I am not profitable yet. I'm still building a presence. I'm still gathering a fan base. And that happens, especially for me, that happens a lot through the live performances, the live shows.
Okay.
Usually wherever I get a platform and I perform, I will leave there having, won a few fans here and there. They follow me on social media. And then yeah, that's really it. So for now, I wouldn't say music is profitable. I'm still in the investment phase of it.
Okay. And does that really have an effect on your creativity?
It does. It should have an effect on
Mhm.
the creativity. It should. But I'll say some of us emerging acts are very lucky in the sense that we have good support systems around us. You understand? I would say I'm one of the very fortunate ones with a good support system around me, from family and then from friends who have even committed to support me do what I do. You get it?
Okay.
So at any point, I would say I have had a good, mind state because I am not put in a position where I am mentally stressed because it's hard out there. You get it.
Mhm.
I am also not put in a position where I feel like I don't have support. I feel like I'm one of the most luckiest emerging acts, if I'm being honest and grateful. I
Okay.
won't sit here and pretend and complain too much. You get it? It could be
Mhm.
better, but I'm also saying that at this point, it would be ungrateful of me to say that, oh, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard, because people have it worse than me.
Yeah.
But I am able to move every day, and the people around me, my team, my friends, my family, all the time, they make me feel like it counts, it matters what I'm doing. I'm doing it. So what's there to distract me from not keeping on? You get it?
Yeah.
So for me, that's it.
Okay. So currently the spotlight is on Afro music. I mean, globally, Afrobeats is making waves. Why is it that Ghana music is not gaining as much as success as the Nigerian music in terms of Afrobeats?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good question. Good question. So initially we looked at it on uh, 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 an individual level, but I'll say
Yeah.
as a community, comparing the Ghanaian Afrobeat community to, let's say, the
Mhm.
Nigerian Afrobeat community, I'd say in Nigeria they have a lot of money in the system. You get it?
Okay.
With money and then also network, you have access, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's really what the Nigerians have over us. And um yeah, so they have the budget, they have the network, and we have great product. I'm not the only one producing the type of content I do. There are other musicians, emerging acts. I would say I honestly do listen to a lot of emerging acts than even the acts out there, because there's so much to learn from down there. You get it?
Yeah.
There's so much to learn. There's so much fresh sound coming out. People are genius and they are creating things you've never heard before. But at the end of the day, the question you ask yourself is, how is it going to be marketed? How is it going to be shown to the world? So the person creates this beautiful music and is sitting in the room and it's not been able to see the light of day. And so that's really it. I'll say that there's money in the Nigerian system. There is the connection. So as much as possible, Ghanaians, we have to master the art of finding money, right? Of finding
Okay.
money, or have a way to get money in the system to put our artists on the platforms that they need to be on. And aside that, I'll say, in terms of the creativity itself, maybe I'll say Nigerians are more daring. I'll say they are
Mhm.
more daring in terms of sound,
Okay.
even. Maybe this sound is new, Nigerians don't know it, Africans don't know it, but yeah, they there's usually that belief that, okay, I can carry this sound and I'll market it in a way that people will love it. But maybe your Ghanaian creative might do it, might even have the finest product, but is afraid to put it out because they don't know how the Ghanaian audience are going to accept it. But I say that we drive. I always put the responsibility on us. We can blame the audience as much as we want, but I also put the responsibility on us that, yeah, it's not a product they will accept until we present it in a way that they will accept. So
Yeah.
let's keep looking for a way. Let's keep looking for a way to, because there's so much richness down here, but we just have to find a way to present it to the world and also get money in the system and connections. You know,
Yeah.
that's really it for me.
Okay. So, as an independent artist with few resources, have you considered relocating out of Ghana, where to, let's say, the Western world, where you would have access to resources, network? I mean, easily.
Oh, I have at a certain point in time, I did consider it, but then also I had to, I guess, go back to the drawing board and with my team, I guess, and then find out where is it easier to start. And for us, we realized that given the type of sound I have, given the type of music I have, it's better to start here. But
Okay.
it's good also to be able to play out there so that little by little I could be growing my fan base out there. You understand?
Mhm.
Because for me, if with my product, where would I sell it first? If you listen to my first EP, it just marketing wise, it just wouldn't even make sense to me and my team to go and market, let's say, the Magagia type of vibes and in Europe, because it's really going to be the Ghanaians who are out there that will listen to it, you know,
Mhm.
especially given that it's more tree centered and all of that. So because of that, it made sense to market it here. Um, right now, with the current project I spoke to you about, the Hear Me Out, on which we have African Goddess, you see the direction of that sound. It's
Yeah.
more beyond Ghana,
Yeah.
right? So that we have started pushing and targeting, you know, Europe. We are targeting the Americas and other African countries. And truly, this analytics speak to the analytics. It confirms that the songs on the project, they are really being loved out there. So Ghana is actually on the fifth on my Spotify analytics. Ghana is fifth in terms of the streams.
Okay.
Nigeria is on top. We have Europe, we have Germany, we have UK, we have America, and then we have Ghana, like fifth. You get it? So it tells that already the product is being accepted out there. So for now,
Yeah.
I mean, we are more move with the data first. You know, we want to move with the data as much as possible. So we look at
Okay.
that one and it directs us rather than to go moving about and then you come back later and find out that the data was pointing you to another
Yeah.
direction. So we've been following data, and our marketing efforts, it's driven by what the data tells us to do.
Okay.
You get it? So that's
Yeah.
really been the inspiration. So out there, I would love to be out there
Mhm.
performing as a touring artist, as an artist who is passing through, introducing his music to that side of the world, till we are
Mhm.
confident that there is the acceptance. If there is the
Okay.
acceptance, why not? Where the market is where, as much as possible, I would like to be. So yeah, that's
Okay. So let's talk about Ghana for a while, since you're studying out in Ghana.
yeah.
What is the best part about living in Ghana?
Oh, the best part about living in Ghana,
Mhm.
I'll say that what everybody says, the stability, the peace of mind. I would
Okay.
say that's really first and foremost. That's really the best part about living in Ghana. I have not been outside of Ghana to be confidently speak of my experience outside compared to what it is down here. But
Mhm.
um, even with what I've experienced in Ghana alone, I know that even if I'm supposed to go out there, I'll find my way back in Ghana because it's nice. I love here.
Okay.
There is stability. There is the peace of mind. I mean, the politics is horrible, because not everything is favoring us, and so we can complain about it and complain about it and complain about that, and it's something we'll continue doing. We won't give up, but we can't also be depressed every day because of bad economy. We have to find a way to rise above it and be happy. You understand? And so if we are finding a way to rise above it, then I'll say that for me, the peace of mind is really the most interesting part of Ghana. The fact that um, I feel like Ghana is still closed off from a lot of madness from other side of the world. So
Yeah.
in a way, Ghana is still that pure untainted um, young kid. You get it, until maybe in the future something comes to taint it. Now it's really
Okay.
to be, yes.
And,
And of
and
course,
what?
the and all of that, nice beaches. I'm a beach person. I'm always
Okay.
writing songs at the beach. So
Wow.
I'm a beach guy. So most of the time, early in the morning, if you don't find me in my home, I'm at the beach. and that's where I'm picking my vibes. That's where I'm singing my heart out, trying to get my act right and all of that. And so we have Afrochella here. We have a lot of things going on here. So now here is becoming like a fun place to be. And I was on Afrochella last year too, so that was dope. Yeah.
Okay, so before I move on to your least favorite part about living in Ghana, since you touched on writing music at a beach, you once said you've written a song purposely for Kojo Entry. I'd like to know, do you still
Yeah.
have that music, and what is keeping you from approaching Kojo Entry to let him know?
Oh, I think who to introduce me is what is left. Who to introduce me is what is left. But the
Okay.
song is there. And so if this content, right, gets seen by anybody connected to Kojo Entry or by Kojo Entry himself,
Yeah.
you should just know that Kojo Entry, I am pitching myself to you as a songwriter. I've written something nice and I think it's funny. I would love an opportunity for you to hear it. And if you love it, it's yours. And so yeah, that's it. Yeah. I
But
said it's
would you say he's your favorite artist, or who is your
mhm.
favorite artist, if not aside Baka Dabri?
It's very hard. I think I have
Okay.
a list of favorites. I have a list of favorite artists. The Kojoentry, the Daddy Lumba, the A.B. Krensel, the Papa Yangsons, um, the Pat Thomas. Those are, yeah, I know it's mostly the old schools, you're right, but they are
Yeah.
the people I listen to them a lot. The Saminis, yeah, yeah. And currently, we
Hmm.
have brilliant artists, the Kelvin Boys, the Shatawalis, the Stone Boys. I listen to all of these guys because
Okay.
the way music is, you. If I listen to your sound a few times, there is something in there for me. You know, artist to artist, there's usually something in there for me. So you are listening wide, and whatever side of each person's art you connect with, you understand. You pick it, and then as much as you are a fan, you also add it to yours. You understand?
Yeah.
Um, Kim Promise is an amazing songwriter, rich with melodies. I listen to him a lot. You get it? So it cuts across. So if you say I should list I should tell you my favorite, it is going to be hard because before I'm done mentioning Kojo Entry, I'm thinking of Daddy Lumba. Before I'm done thinking of him, I'm thinking of the next because there's always
Yeah.
something nice about each artist and their craft, you know.
Okay.
So that's what's up.
Okay. So let's go back to your least favorite part about living in Ghana.
Mhm. Oh, I think it's an African problem. Bad economy, right? Bad economy. That's really it. Bad economy, bad policies. Hoping for leadership that you can trust. I think at the moment it's hard. Like on Twitter, sometimes you see how people have reached that point where they are like, look, forget about this country's leadership. Hustle your own hustle, suffer your own suffer and make it. And if possible, jackpot, just run from this country. And for me, it's a very sad state to be in. You understand? Because
Yeah.
I feel like if we you as a system, it gets to that point where people don't have faith in the system. So they don't have even the tiniest of faith in the system, so much that they want to run, or they become apathetic towards the system. They just simply don't care anymore. Then it means people have really been broken to that level where they just don't care. It's easier to not care and care
Yeah.
about your own survival than to care about the collective good. And so for me, it saddens my heart very much when I reflect on things and I realize that that's the state we are in. Because people should feel like they are part of a country and they should feel like they are all living the good life. You know, they are sharing fairly of the national cake and all of that. And clearly, that's not the situation in Ghana and in other African countries. So we have a very frustrated youth who are just looking for the easiest way out, and who knows what that will lead people to do. It will take us to the illegal route of doing things. It will take us to doing the immoral
Mhm.
things and
Yeah.
oh Lord. So that's really the horrible part of Ghana. And I think one thing I would like to mention generally, I would, one of my least favorite things about Ghana. So I've spoken about the system. I'd also like to say one of my least favorite things about Ghana is that I feel the youth could believe in themselves more. I feel that as a youth, we could believe in ourselves more because there is so much potential. And
Mhm.
comparing us to whatever other economies are out there, I'll just say if we believed in ourselves more, that we are able to, take matters into our hands, we're able to make change happen for ourselves. Whoever you are, if you're an artist, believe in yourself more. Like believe that that product will sell. Believe that that product is good enough. Be there and disrupt the market and all of that. If you're a
Yeah.
leader, daring to challenge the status quo. Be daring. And I feel like Ghanaians, we are very yes. I don't know if you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's not 100 though. We shy away from even the slightest challenges that could even make us better youth and all of that. So I'll say that's also my least favorite thing. The I don't know if it's a lack of an inferiority complex on the part of the Ghanaian. If you put the Ghanaian side by side another nationality, there's usually that confidence from the other guy. But I feel like
Yeah.
it should reflect 360. It should come from us too. It should come from us in the creative sector, the technology, the politics, everywhere, advocacy, whatever it is. So I was really happy when the Occupy Jilobi protest happened. Because for me, when I was at the grounds, it was as spiritual as it gets.
Yeah.
Because I felt it. I was like, oh, Charlie, this thing, like, you don't know how spiritual it is until you get to the grounds and you see the youth, vemming up and then asking for a good life. And then you start believing and you start feeling the urge to ask for it. I didn't post my own because my costume was not right for the occasion. So yeah, so I didn't post it, even though we so like I would have posted it for people to know that I was at the protest. Yeah. So I was on my way to a program and I had dressed nicely to go and perform. But then, I think my movement plan changed. And so I ended up on the protest grounds with my flyboy looking self. Meanwhile, it be protest grounds with everybody I make red. You understand?
Yeah.
So I did what I needed to do protest wise because that's really the most important reason why we were all there in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's symbolic. You have to wear the right costume for the right
Exactly.
occasion.
Yeah.
For me, I was even to post it. So I was like, nah, it's not cool to post it. Yeah, but I was there and it was nice and it
Okay.
felt empowering. And I feel like we've started. We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right. Baka Dabri, I mean, you are a very interesting artist and person. We could go on and on and on with this conversation, but I promise not to take so much time off your busy schedule. So before we wrap up, I'd like to know what's the one most important lesson life has taught you that you want to share with the world?
I would say I've come to appreciate the human nature more, right? And I say this because I don't know how to explain it, but when you acknowledge that you are human being first, right? If I acknowledge you as a human being first, then however I look at you, whatever your actions are, whatever your behavior is, at the end of the day, if I look at you as a human being first, if you moved me wrongly, I'm able to say, well, that was wrong, but then he's a human being. So I'm able to, sweep it under the carpet. You know, we could have a disagreement, whatever it is, like, but that appreciation for the human situation, it lowers your expectation. It helps you to not get disappointed too much. It helps you to be more compassionate. It helps you. So I mean, you could be pissed at me. You could, Charlie, you could feel vex me, tell me your mind, whatever, whatever. But when I sit back and then I'm like, okay, what could really be going on with you? You understand what influenced your decision, blah blah blah. And I spoke to you. Maybe something they work you and which made you behave the way you did. You understand?
Mhm.
So for me,
Yeah,
I'll say right now I'm in a phase of my life where I'm really, really appreciating the human situation. That in everything I'm like, well, the person is a human being first. Of course, there are bad people, right? There are
yeah.
bad people. You meet them, you cut them out. They are just bad weed. But then I feel like I've just become more considerate as a person in life because I am appreciating the human condition more. So for me, that's really it. I don't know if it makes sense to you.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. Appreciating
Yeah.
humanity.
Yes,
Thanks
yes,
once
yes.
again for making time to join me on Time with Steven. Before you leave us, kindly tell us where can people find you on the internet? Where can people find your music?
Amazing. Yes, so my name Baka Dabri, Bakadabri. I'm the only one. So if you get the spelling right, you will find me everywhere on social media and also on the streaming platforms. So that's it. I'm everywhere, Bakadabri. If you forget that, put in Busanga. You'll find me on social media too. And so that's really it. And I hope that to the audience, take your time, enjoy the music. Let me know how you feel about it. Feel free to also be in my DMs. When I see them, I normally reply. Yes.
Guys, thanks once again for joining me on this platform. You know, when he says his music is good, it is really good indeed. I mean, I fell in love instantly with his music, and anyone else I've introduced his music to had felt the same. So, guys,
Yes.
kindly go out there, stream his music, support him in any way possible. I mean, thanks once again for joining us, Baka Dabri.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've had a good conversation. Yes, I've had a good. Thank you for
I'm glad you
the
did. Guys, if you enjoyed this conversation and you want more of such, kindly support me by subscribing to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share. That is the only way I'll be able to bring you more of such interesting conversation. Catch you on the next episode. It's bye from here.